Has Macquarie Bank just banned cash? Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee. Let's check out this article from 9 News discussing Macquarie Bank. Well, banning cash or transitioning to digital only. Now, for those of you that are regulars of the channel, you'll remember discussing the cash ban some years ago, the push by the Australian government to limit cash transactions, to make it illegal to transact $10,000 in cash or over $10,000 and above, which is nuts. Okay, you want to have the option to do that. There's a whole series of benefits to allowing people to use cash. But I also understand why businesses don't want to deal with it, because it's a pain in the ass. There's a cost associated with dealing with cash. There's additional security. There's potential for staff pilfering it. You could get lost. There's handling, all these issues with it, where digital is just tap, you don't worry about it, tap, you don't worry about it, tap, you don't worry about it. And Australia has become a cashless society. There's, as much as I appreciate having cash on hand, I rarely use it anymore these days either. You need to have some in case there is an emergency. Remember the bushfires? Remember that years ago when people didn't have cash, so they couldn't pay for petrol or things at petrol stations, so Australians just robbed them. There you go. Okay, so always have some on hand. And after that, I had a stash of cash and some coins that I kept in the house. And you know what happened to it? I'll have a shot of my coffee, and you write in the comments what you think. My wife used it as an emergency chocolate fund. So that's what happened to it. So there's the other risk of cash, guys. Increased chocolate consumption in the household. So let's check this one out. So customers have 5 days until Macquarie Bank transitions to digital only. I don't think there are going to be many people that are impacted by this, to be quite honest. Customers at a major Australian bank. Yeah, but is it a major one with regards to day-to-day transactions? I don't imagine people are going in and depositing their little pennies in their Macquarie Bank account. Have just 5 days before the institution transitions into digital-only payment systems at its own offices. I mean, the concern with this is this is the trend. That Macquarie are the first in a growing movement of businesses that will just say, no, we don't take cash anymore. And okay, sure, tapping is convenient, but you want to make sure you're not paying that 1%, that 0.5% to MasterCard every time or to Visa every time. Macquarie Bank announced last year that it would phase out its cash, check, and phone payments for customers. Under the changes on May 20, customers will no longer have access to over-the-counter services, deposit, or collect checks and order new checkbooks at Macquarie Bank. I mean, when's the last time you've dealt with a check? I'm old enough to remember having to pay rent with a check. What was it? Catching the train to hand deliver the rent check to the real estate agent. Customers with a Macquarie transaction account or an offset account with a Macquarie debit MasterCard will be able to withdraw cash at ATMs across Australia without fees. I mean, how often? I can't even remember the last time I did that. From November 1, customers will be unable to write or deposit personal checks, deposits, or request bank checks, deposit checks, or checks over the counter at NAB branches, and make a super contribution or payment via check. I'm assuming NAB are the owner of Macquarie. Let's look that up. Why they're saying that, or is that a mistake? NAB own Macquarie. It's not saying here. It's not saying. Macquarie Bank joins the ranks of the Big Four. NAB, no. I'm assuming. There's nothing here that I can find. Bank ownership, who owns Bendigo, ING, and more. Yep, that's fine. Which services are no longer available at National Australia Bank. From November 1, cash and check services will no longer be available at National Australia Bank. Great, it's not working. Come on. NAB Connect. But they do have some connections. Okay. Okay, so there are some connections between the banks there. So maybe they're helping each other out. Any checks received after October 31 will be returned to the sender. As a digital bank, we're committed to transitioning to completely digital payments by 2024 as a safer, faster, and convenient way to bank. It's just to reduce their costs. It's just to reduce their costs. That's what's happening here. The majority of our customers already bank digitally, and we're working very closely to support the less than 1% of our customers who currently use checks or cash to ensure they have access to other digital payment methods. Macquarie Bank's move has been met with criticism about how it will affect some groups of people who rely on non-digital services, particularly the elderly. So there we go, everyone. I mean, let's have a bit of a chat about this one, eh? I mean, we have to appreciate this from both sides of the argument. If only 1% of your user base are using these products and there's a huge cost associated with it and an inconvenience, you're going to cut it. That's the reality of it. You're going to have some elderly people that are frustrated, that are still using checks, that will miss them. We'll have to find other ways to adapt or move to a different bank. There's one gentleman I know at church, and his wife was lamenting the fact that they've got separate accounts, and he pays her everything with a check. So he's part of the bills, he's part of this. He'll write a check and hand it to her. So there are still some people who do it, and I can appreciate the fact if you get to a habit and you like it and you're stuck to it, sure, but yeah, I mean, it's happening. We don't need the government to enforce a cash ban, because people are just going to transition away from cash to other sources of transacting because of convenience. That's the reality of it. We need to advocate and ensure businesses still accept cash, but Macquarie, they're not a day-to-day bank. They're not a normal bank that most people are using. If one of the big four stops taking cash, then there has to be uproar. But then again, I don't think that'll happen either, eh? So let me know in the comments, guys, how often do you still transact with cash? I mean, just for business, for your bookkeeping and accounting, it's so much easier when it's all on the card. It's already in there. Oh, yeah. Anyway, take care, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.